Apparently, a Boston police officer who was credited with helping to save a transit officer wounded in the Watertown shootout with the alleged Boston Marathon bombers was himself shot in the face Friday night in a Roxbury confrontation that left a suspect dead and a bystander injured. Officer John Moynihan, 34, was in critical condition at Boston Medical Center late Friday after a gang unit stop turned violent, authorities said. The officer was fighting for his life, Commissioner William B. Evans said. In April 2013, Moynihan was among those who assisted Transit Police Officer Richard Donahue, Jr., who was shot and bleeding heavily amid a shootout with an alleged shootout with Tamerlan and Dzohar Tarsanev days after the marathon bombings, said Lieutenant Michael McCarthy of the Boston Police. Friday's incident began at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time when gang units, officers investigating a report of shots fired, stopped a vehicle on Humboldt Avenue near Crawford Street to interview its 3 male occupants, authorities said Friday night. The suspect stepped out and began to flee while firing his gun, said David Procopio, a spokesman for the state police, which works alongside Boston police to address gang violence. The suspect wounded Moynihan under the right eye, Evans said. A law enforcement official also said the suspect, who was not identified, had several previous gun-related charges. Commissioner Evans said that the stop was initially routine and that the suspect had fired at police before they had time to react. But the officers quickly returned fire, killing the suspect. And guess what? Gunfire also struck a middle-aged woman who suffered a flesh wound, possibly in her right arm, Commissioner Evans said. I think she got caught up in the crossfire, he said. Evans, who did not identify Moynihan as the officer involved, said he was a highly decorated military veteran and one of our most outstanding officers in the Youth Violence Task Force, commonly known as the Gang Unit. And get this, a law enforcement official said that, in addition to helping to save Donahue, Moynihan was active at the Boston Marathon finish line in the aftermath of the bombings, helping to triage the wounded. The official said Moynihan is the absolute best type of soldier and police officer and is selfless, courageous, and giving. 3 other police officers involved in the incident were taken to Brigham and Women's Hospital for stress, according to Commissioner Evans. And the police were interviewing 2 other occupants of the car. And Commissioner Evans also said, quote, "You've got way too many guns out there and way too many young kids running around with the guns, and unfortunately, this is what happens." Yes, folks, that came out the mouth of the police commissioner, Evans. And it goes on here to talk about all the other shootings that have happened around that area. Yada, yada, yada. Break this news.